Itch it up, my selector.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Happy Saturday, happy Saturday. This is Maestro with my brother from another, Mr. Joe Habib, Mr. Ringsider Reporter Live, Mr. Joe Stradamus. Because much like myself, my brother Joe Habib has been on top of matters. We were on top of things when they came to the mandates. We were on top of things when it came to the special operation launched into a country that we will not mention right now, but we were also right all along when it came to this particular fight. And I want to start off Saturday by going over some good news. Fury versus Usyk is signed. All right. So you should all be happy about that, ladies and gentlemen, because we are all going to be treated to nothing short of the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. And I'm talking about the Gypsy King Tyson Fury against Alexander Usyk. There were skeptics all along. There were boo-birds all along. There were rival promoters who were throwing shade all along. But it got signed. And Joe, I'm going to throw it over to you. I mean, explain the title, explain the rationale here, and give people those skills as it relates to parrying that sucker punch, blocking that sucker punch, slipping that sucker punch, or just stepping away from the sucker punch. Knowledge is power. Joe's got the knowledge, therefore Joe also has the power. Go for it.
Anytime a sports event of any kind or an entertainment event of any kind is going to be held in Saudi Arabia, it has to go through the General Entertainment Authority. It's that simple, right? And who's the chairman of the General Entertainment Authority? None other than the Supreme Excellency, Turki-Usyk. People may not like that, but it's just the way it is. And the General Entertainment Authority is funded by the Saudi Public Investment Fund. Okay? And Turki-Usyk reports directly to the Crown Prince himself. Now, people want to talk about Skills Challenge and Prince Khalid. No offense to him. No disrespect to Skills Challenge. No disrespect at all to Prince Khalid. But Prince Khalid still would have to go through, right, the General Entertainment Authority, and still does and still has to go through the General Entertainment Authority to get any fight, event approved, right? It's that simple. It's that simple. So this is like going to the bank, right? Trying to make a transaction. So I go to the bank. I want to do a withdrawal for like 1,000, 2,000, maybe 3,000, right? I go to the teller, give the teller, him or her, he or she, right? Give the teller my bank slip, right? And everything's copacetic. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, no problem. But I walk in there one day and I want to make a boss move. And I say, you know what? I'm going to pull out $150,000, right? Give the teller my bank slip. What does the teller have to do? Wow, that's a large sum of money, Mr. B, but we don't have that cash on hand. Let me go talk to the bank manager before I approve this transaction, right? So what Bob Arum and Frank Warren did is they circumvented the teller, right? And they went straight to the bank manager. And once that bank manager puts that seal of approval on that transaction, right? It's signed, sealed, and delivered. So all of the naysayers, all of the detractors, right, who are sitting there saying, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, all the evidence strongly suggests and points to that you're going to see it. Because once Fury-Usyk confirms it, right, he's the bank manager in this situation. He's not the bank teller, with all due respect. He's the bank manager. Once he puts that final seal of approval on it, everyone involved confirmed this. Fury, Usyk, Alex Krajcik, Bob Arum, and Frank Warren. So all parties are on the same page. Not like you guys who like to get one source and run with it. Now you have multiple sources, and you heard it straight from the horse's mouth. Fury-Usyk, right? The guy who actually is in charge of entertainment and sports. That's straight to the top, as Bob Arum said earlier today in a video during an interview, Media Scrum. He said, we went straight to the guy who's in charge, who has the authority on these things. And it can't be refuted at this point. And if someone does want to refute it, then that's fine. I mean, you could deal with and live in that alternate reality if you want to, but this fight is going to happen, and it's more than likely going to happen within the first quarter of next year, no later than March 2nd. And I would speculate that this could possibly happen as early as January, in my opinion. I don't think it'll happen in December, but who knows? I think it will happen most likely in January, in my opinion.
We know it's going to take place during Riyadh season, and there was an interview between a member of Fury's camp, kind of a fringe member, but a member nonetheless. I believe it was on I think it was on my brother's channel, Boxing King Media. Got to give credit where credit's due. And he said, listen, people are going to get a Christmas present. I can't tell you too much. And I'm not allowed to say. I've signed off on things that don't allow me to divulge the details, but people will be receiving a Christmas present and people will be getting what they want. I remember saying to myself, wow, I kind of want to go live and talk about this on my channel, but I didn't. It was the start of the school year, and then I kind of forgot about it. And then boom, this big announcement gets made. And it should be taking place during Riyadh season or at the very end of Riyadh season, but it will be part of the Riyadh season celebration. And what Joe has been saying all along, and what I've been saying with Joe as well, is that you just need to look at the evidence. Skills challenge is not what it was presented to be at the beginning. This kind of all-encompassing, holistic representative of the Saudi government as it relates to putting on big fights in Saudi Arabia. they've been circumvented. I would say maybe even pushed out. And clearly, the idea here in Saudi Arabia, which, as we've said before on past streams, isn't that far time zone wise from Western Europe and the UK, is to put on big events, but seasonally. Big fights, box office fights, seasonally, not every weekend, not every month, but it's kind of events that are linchpins to bigger events such as Riyadh season. So, Joe, let's get to the super chat, and I want you, if you could, Joe, to just talk to me about where you think skills challenges right now and what that represents vis-a-vis this new, obviously government-backed financial entity, this investment fund, and the person who runs it. But let's get to the super chat from Andrew. Big up from London. Fury unanimous decision or late stoppage. Greedy belly beats soft belly easy. How are you guys betting for Canelo versus Charlo? I have Canelo KO TKO. Go for it, Joe. And thank you for the super chat.
So we got to address a comment in the chat first before I answer that question. It says, why announce it while Fury in Ghana was happening next month? Got to understand the strategy, man. Fury in Ghana was basically a promo for Fury-Usyk. So you're killing two birds with one stone, right? People have said, they've DM'd me, and I've seen people tweet it out themselves. Well, now I'm going to watch Fury and Ngannou now that I know Fury-Usyk is happening next. So this was a genius move because now you're promoting both events at the same time. Now there's people saying, well, okay, maybe this Fury and Ngannou fight isn't so bad after all, knowing that later I'm going to get Fury versus Usyk. So that's simple answer to your question. That's pretty clear cut and obvious in my opinion. Now, skills challenge, I believe, will be probably still involved in boxing, but at a very, very, very low level in comparison to what's going on with the General Entertainment Authority. They're going to be involved in the big events, right? So, you saw a picture, at least I saw a picture. It was tweeted out that Turki was posing with Usyk back in, I think, September 5th or 6th or so. And he said big things are coming soon. So already, I don't even know how much involvement skills challenges are going to have moving forward with Usyk, right? I'm sure that, Usyk would still do business with Turki Al-Sheikh and the General Entertainment Authority, the Riyadh season group. I still think that maybe, as I said, skills challenge has been kind of put on the back burner, and the Riyadh season group has been pushed to the forefront here, right? So the truth has come to light, and a lot of people questioning this, and they're being skeptical. And, talking about how Fury isn't this draw that everyone says he is. Well, with these two fights back to back for Tyson Fury and Ngannou and Usyk, right? And if there's a rematch clause, right? Because the Forbes list goes from May of the prior year to May of the current year. So May of 2023. Right? And May of 2024, Fury will have at least two fights. He'll have Ngannou and he'll have Usyk. So you could argue Fury could make and may make more than Canelo Alvarez this year in boxing, right? With these two events back to back. You could argue that. He could give Canelo Alvarez a run for his money. So other than Canelo Alvarez, I think Fury will be definitely among the highest paid combat sports athletes on the Forbes list. And you could argue he may even be number one when it's all said and done. If Bob Arum's claims that he'll be making over $100 million for one fight, right? And if he makes and makes 50 million in this fight or more, right? That's 150 million in purses alone, plus another 8 million on top of that in endorsements, and plus who knows what's going to happen with the Netflix thing. They're renewing a second season for that. If that comes out before May, and that, this guy could arguably, this is a bold statement, he may be in the top 5 on the Forbes list next year, and possibly be number 1 on the Forbes list, which is one of his goals.
Well, it's
right?
funny.
So no disrespect to Joshua, but the tide has turned. There's a new sheriff in town, and it is what it is. Go ahead, Maestro.
No, I was just going to double down on everything we said and say something that we've said in our own private conversations, which is that the disbelief in Fury's star power has always been baffling to me. This guy is a guy who is a best-selling author in the UK. This is a guy who goes on tour just to speak, and people buy tickets to do Q&A kind of town halls with him. This is a guy who had Christmas albums with Robbie Williams, who celebrity chefs and celebrities like Gordon Ramsay traveled to Vegas to go fight. This is a guy who, from the UK, as a heavyweight, cracked the US market, fighting at the Staples Center, at the MGM Grand, at the T-Mobile, multiple pay-per-view fights. But for years I was told, yeah, but Maestro, what about AJ? You don't know what you're talking about. AJ's the real celebrity in the UK. Well, if you go off of his Instagram account, yeah, he has more, Instagram followers.
Not anymore. Fury, actually, Canelo passed Joshua. Fury has not passed Joshua.
If you look at AJ's Instagram content, it is more like geared towards Instagram. There's like a lot of shirtless workout content, and that kind of stuff is what people like to see on Instagram. Not necessarily me, but others. But Joshua's a guy, and listen up very carefully, people in the UK, because this is, for whatever reason, confusing to some people that are subscribers to my channel and subscribers to your channel, Joe. Joshua's never fought on pay-per-view in the UK. In the US. He's never fought on pay-per-view in the US. His only US fight was his introduction to the US market. We all know how that went, at Madison Square Garden against a late replacement in Andy Ruiz, who was replacing a guy who was clearly a B-side in Jarrell Miller, who himself was replacing Dillian White, who was initially offered the fight. Never on pay-per-view. So, yeah, I was debating this with somebody recently. No, Wilder versus Joshua is not a bigger fight than Fury versus Usyk. I don't know where that would be true. I don't think any fight involving AJ is bigger at this point than any fight involving Fury. And you may not like the fact that he's fighting Ngannou, but really at this point, I don't even see what anybody can complain about. He's fighting Usyk. This is a tick-over, cash money, pay-per-view event that you do not have to buy if you do not want to. But I guarantee you, a lot of these people that were complaining about Fury and Ngannou are going to be watching Fury and Ngannou. I'm going to be watching Fury and Ngannou. And I was going to watch Fury and Ngannou even before this fight with Usyk was finalized and made official. And to your point, Joe, the other day, Fury made the comment, I want to top the Forbes list. People like laughing at it. Oh, this guy, what's he talking about? Well, why doesn't he care about legacy? He only cares about money. Guess what, guys? This is professional fighting. If these guys didn't care about money, they'd still be fighting in IBA, formerly IEBA events, and trying to win trophies and medals. They're not. They're pro fighters. They're fighting for glory inside the ring, obviously, but they're also fighting for major paydays. Everybody has. Roberto Duran did. Sugar Ray Leonard did. Sugar Ray Robinson did. Muhammad Ali did. Joe Louis did. They all fought for paydays, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't Batman as much as Fury used to dress as Batman, right? Looking for the bat signal every night, looking to the sky and saying, I'm the Cape Crusader and I'm going to go fight crime for free. No, he's a professional fighter that fights for money. And guess what? Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. It's pay-per-view after pay-per-view. I mean, how many pay-per-views does this guy have to do before people realize that he's pay-per-view? And how many times does he have to give people the big fight before people start stop, making all of these clickbaity videos over and over again about how he's ducking this person or ducking that person? No, ladies and gentlemen, we live in a capitalist world. He's a professional athlete, and he was negotiating the best deal for himself and for his family, just like any other professional athlete would. Joe, let me ask you something. Well, when an NFL player refuses to turn up to training camp, is that about legacy? Is that a legacy situation, or is it that guy just wanting to get paid?
Want to get paid, bro.
Thank you. It's not that hard. So at the end of the day, you're getting the fight that you wanted. The reasons you're getting the fight, Joe eloquently reviewed them. No one is going to be able to refute anything Joe said because, by the way, the act of refuting something involves disproving something. It's not just arguing another point. It's disproving the person's point. So who is he going to be ducking after Usyk? Because first it was White, then it was Usyk. Who's the next guy he's ducking? Joe Joyce, Zhang Zhilei, AJ? Because 2 days ago, I was seeing videos talking about how he's ducking Frank Sanchez, Arslan Beck, and all of these other guys ranked in the WBC. I mean, come on now. So I don't know if you want to finally answer this super chat, Joe, or I can just move on from it. But they're asking, Andrew dropped a very significant super chat for you here, 20 pounds, which, by the way, is almost enough to buy a pay-per-view fight in the UK and covers about 2 months of the zone. So he's asking you about your thoughts on Canelo versus Charlo later today.
Canelo versus Charlo. I'm recommending betting the stoppage proposition for Canelo. I think it's a lock, and I say that with no disrespect to Charlo, but this is not a style that presents problem for Canelo. Charlo is a guy who's not a counterpuncher. He's not a guy who moves a lot. He's not a volume guy, right? A lot of times he'll throw those shots, but he'll be a little wide with the shots. I saw in the first Tony Harrison fight that Tony Harrison was really picking him apart with counter shots because he was opening up, loading up with one shot at a time, maybe throwing 2 shots, no more than 2. And Canelo has problems with those volume guys. He has problems with those guys who push the pace on him. He has got problems with those guys who move a lot. Doesn't have problems with guys who come right at him and throw 1 punch at a time and load up. Canelo, this is basically a Christmas gift in terms of style matchups for Canelo Alvarez. And physically, he looks better than I've ever seen him. Better than I've ever seen him.
He looks really good. And the other thing I want to talk about with this fight is that Charlo obviously has a good jab, but Canelo's faced great jabbers. Kovalev's biggest attribute going into the Canelo fight was his jab. Obviously, Golovkin's got a great jab. I could go through the list of Canelo opponents with jabs. I don't have to here, but his jab defense is very good. He double blocks jabs, he parries jabs, he catches and counters jabs, he slips jabs. I don't really think he's going to have much problems with Charlo's jab, especially considering he's taken jabs from much larger men and men that have more knockouts at the elite level than Charlo does, with all due respect. And I know Charlo jabbed Banana Rosario to the body and got him up out of there. That's not happening tonight. That's not happening tonight. So, I see Canelo coming out reading what Charlo's got for the first round, maybe 2 rounds, 2.5 rounds at most. And once that happens, and he essentially eliminates that offensive threat from Charlo, at that point, I see Canelo, kind of moving between walking Charlo down with the high guard and applying pressure, and baiting Charlo into counter shots, because we all see Canelo using that pull counter very well, and countering off of people's jabs, right hands, and hooks. So it's going to be an offensive and defensive display tonight by Canelo. This was perfect for Canelo, as Joe just said. He's getting to take on 154 pounder, making his debut at 168 pounds in his very first PBC Showtime pay-per-view fight under the new deal. He's not taking on Benavidez. He's not taking on a southpaw, who, by the way, I think would offer him much more trouble in David Morrell Jr. He's not taking on Boo Boo Andrade. He's taking on a 154 pounder who's going to bring it and make for an exciting fight. But much like Joe, I would also recommend the late stoppage. So there you go. So for those of you that are late to the party here, hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. There are very few channels out there that are going to be giving you the content, the knowledge, the experience in reporting on boxing, of being around the gyms, of speaking to fighters and interviewing promoters, as my brother Joe Habib. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you've dinged that bell to receive all notifications so that you know when Joe goes live. The flagship show is obviously Sundays with my brother Eric Lorda, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So always check that out. You can check out Joe on the Round Table. And ever so often, I will be here with Joe as well, doing Sucker Punch and other content. If you missed the beginning of the show, well, the Gypsy King did it again. Frank Warren has done it again. Bob Arum has done it again. They're bringing you a huge fight featuring the Gypsy King, another undisputed fight, okay? And it's going to be taking place as part of Riyadh season. And as Joe so eloquently overviewed at the beginning of the show, Eddie Hearn went to the bank teller. Bob Arum, and arguably pound for pound, the best promoter in the sport, Mr. Frank Warren himself, they went essentially to the person who runs the bank. They got the deal done. It's happening. Joe, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, this is what everybody asked for. So it's put up or shut up time. A lot of the Usyk fans have been critical of Fury, but now they seem like they're being a little nervous now. Now they're saying, oh, well, I'll believe it when I see it, almost wishing that the fight doesn't happen now, because they're probably concerned that they know that their guy is probably going to lose. I'm surprised Usyk's team didn't even ask for a catch weight here. I mean, Fury is just it should be outlawed to be that big and that skilled at the same time. It's not even a fair fight, really, in my opinion. No disrespect to Usyk. I mean, but there is levels. We hear this all the time. There's levels to this. And Fury is not big for nothing, man. Like, he's got it all. This guy's 6'9", 270, moves around the ring like a gazelle. He's ambidextrous in there. He can fight a whole fight southpaw if he chooses to do so. He can feint you out of your socks from the outside like he did with Vladimir Klitschko, or he can bull rush you and maul you like he did Deontay Wilder in the second fight. So when you fight a Tyson Fury as a boxer, right, you have to worry about so many different things. You have to guess what version of Fury is going to be across from me on that particular night. And if things do get rough for Usyk, like they did in that Dubois fight, right, we saw what happened. So if Usyk decides to complain to the ref during an exchange, sort of like what Steve Cunningham did, looked over to the ref when Fury gave him that nudge. he looked over to the ref like this. Before he could blink his eyes twice, he had a right hand come over the top. So there's not going to be like Anthony Joshua stopping and saying, well, hey, what's going on? No. Boom! It's going to happen, Daddy. We're coming with the heat. The Fury-Matics. Full force, Daddy.
No, Fury's got that killer instinct. If there are lulls or pauses caused by Usyk turning to the referee and pointing to his belt line or pointing to his stomach,
there's not going to be any break.
There's not going to be a pause like there was with the inexperienced Daniel Dubois or with AJ. I mean, he's going to go right for it. And as it relates to this fight, Joe, I see Fury using his size, mauling Usyk. He's got the ability to fight on the inside that AJ does not have. He's got the experience and ability to fight on the inside that Daniel Dubois does not have. And he's obviously a much bigger fighter than Derek Chisora, and has got a bigger boxing IQ and more skills than Derek Chisora, who, by the way, I still think has given Usyk the toughest fight since he's been in the heavyweight division.
I thought,
yeah, go for it.
I thought Usyk won 5 rounds against. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Chisora won 5 rounds against Usyk, and he fought that trench warfare type fight, which Fury most certainly can do, and even at a higher level.
Yeah, we've seen him do it with Wilder, especially in the second fight, but also in the third fight. We've seen him do it and dig deep against Otto Wallin, who I don't think took more than 2 or 3 rounds from Fury, despite what people say. He got in on the inside and he roughed him up. He roughhoused him, and he worked the body and smothered Wallin's work for the vast majority of that fight. And by the way, Otto Wallin is a much bigger, much more physically strong heavyweight southpaw than Alexander Usyk is. So I'm not saying he's more skilled than Alexander Usyk, but as the old adage goes, a good big man beats a great little man. And in this case, I would say it's a great big man against a great little man, at least in the context of heavyweight boxing. So there you go. Neil says, the walking fight should have been stopped. That was a loss. Steve Cunningham beat him too. I guess he means the Wallin fight, not the so in the minds of these, if certain people, Fury should have losses on his record, right? No. A loss against Wilder because Jack Reese saved him from a knockout. A loss against Wallin because the referee should have stopped that fight. And what's this third one now? Cunningham should have beat him as well. Neil, with all due respect, that's comedy. That's comedy, but nice attempt at comedy there. I'm not personally buying it. And the goalposts always get moved, by the way, with Fury. Because when one thing is disproved, oh, this fight's not going to happen. Now we turn to another thing, which is now that all of these people have beat him. So if that's the case, Neil, I want you to go on the record over here and pick Usyk, right? Because if Cunningham beat him and if Wallin beat him, surely Usyk is going to beat him, right, Joe? So I'd like you to go on the record and pick Usyk. I'm going to put it on the screen. We can do a friendly wager about this. We could bet push-ups. Joe likes to do the whole pie in the face thing. Yeah. Whatever you want. I bet you 100 push-ups that Usyk does not beat Tyson Fury.
The Usyk fans are very nervous.
He's picking Usyk. Okay, so I bet you 100 push-ups. I want to see those push-ups on YouTube, on IG, or on Twitter. We're betting it right here.
The Usyk fans are very nervous right now. Anytime you gotta go back and do play the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, bro. That just tells you that they're grasping at straws right now. They're desperate and they want Usyk to win. Say it. You want Usyk to win, but if I strapped you to a polygraph machine right now, or if you came on this stream and had a camera and I administered the truth stare to you, and I could read the wavelengths and just see and gauge the electromagnetism in your thought and process and your speaking patterns, I could tell that you'd be lying if I gave you this truth stare. You don't believe it. You would never strap yourself up to a polygraph and think and say Usyk would beat Fury because you don't even believe it. You are basically going off of the hopes and dreams of what you want to happen. You're in the quantum realm right now. We're in the reality realm, right? Where the good big man, not even a good big man, the best big man of all time.
Second after Lennox Lewis.
Number one.
Second
Number
after
one. That's your opinion. The real truth is Tyson Fury is the best big man of all time that ever laced up boxing gloves and breathed oxygen, right? He's the best. And he's going in there with a very good fighter who's undersized and doesn't have the physical construct to take these hellacious hammers from the mighty Thor type hammer of a blow that he's going to be administered and he's going to be the recipient of.
No, with all due respect, Lil Penny, I would favor Fury over George Foreman. And then I still have to watch the Joe Foreman movie, by the way. It's on Netflix right now.
Here's this argument with Ali. All right. This whole nostalgia argument that, and I love Ali, don't get me wrong, but
I like what he stood for as well. Ali.
Yeah, I mean, but we have to break down the styles. Ali held a lot. He would grab guys behind the shorter guys that he fought, Joe Frazier, Ken Norton, and Foreman's about the same size, right? He would grab these guys behind the head and pull them, and he couldn't fight. He could not fight on the inside, Ali. Let's just be real. He wasn't an inside fighter. That's why he had problems with Joe Frazier. Arguably, people thought he lost all 3 Foreman fights, right?
Yeah.
Lost to Joe Frazier, right? Tyson Fury would smother Ali. He would maul him. And Ali would try to grab him, try to hold him. But you can't hold 6'9", 270 pounds of pure fucking adrenaline.
And fighting, man.
That's a fighting man.
This isn't a guy. This isn't a converted basketball player or a converted college football linebacker that became a boxer. This is a guy who was literally born and bred, and raised by Peter Fury and by Gypsy John Fury, 2 people who themselves were born and bred in the sport of boxing to be exactly what he is. I mean, the guy was named as a baby after Mike Tyson. Again, this isn't a college football offensive lineman that decided to become a heavyweight pro. This is a guy who's been fighting his entire walking, waking life, pretty much. So I just don't agree with this one. Conscious talk. It actually sounds quite unconscious, to tell you the truth. I don't quite.
We don't play ifs.
By that.
We don't play ifs. If I was 7'4", I'd be in the NBA. But guess what? It ain't happening. We don't play the game of ifs. People who play the game of ifs, they're not true believers. They're not winners. They play the game of woulda, coulda, shoulda. They get left behind.
Oven mitts for gloves and boar nuts for Fury. Okay.
Whatever, man.
We know.
We are here. We're here.
We know what you're saying.
Here.
Yeah. I'm not really buying it.
I know it hurts. The truth hurts. Fury's the best heavyweight that ever put on a pair of boxing gloves, and it bothers people. Sorry. It's a reality.
Yeah, I did think that. You're absolutely right. I did think that Canelo legit knocked out Kovalev. Why wouldn't that? I think that I saw it with my two eyes.
I mean,
What are we talking about here? I know what I saw. He knocked the dude out. Are
in
you?
the world,
Sorry, go ahead.
in the world of winners, we don't play the woulda, coulda, shoulda, man. You guys, you woulda, coulda, shoulda crowd people, you get left behind. The world will pass you by, bro. Woulda, coulda, shoulda. Too bad.
Conscious
That's not the
talk.
game we play here. That's not the game we play over here. Sorry,
I don't
Maestro.
know. I don't know what being Puerto Rican has to do with anything. Like,
I'm Lebanese, baby. I got Lebanese power, man.
my family's from the Caribbean too. That doesn't necessarily mean that people from the Caribbean are automatically non-biased. You know, I mean, you could be Jamaican, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Haitian. You're a human being. Everybody has a certain level of bias, but your bias is coming through right
Yeah,
here.
I'm extremely biased
Betting
towards truth and reality.
Okay. I'm part of the system. Okay. What system is that?
I'm part of the system.
That system that got demonetized on YouTube because I had the audacity to say that a certain fighter named Bivol from a certain country that we're not talking about very much right now shouldn't have been essentially blackballed from the sport. You know?
I'm part of the system. I'm part of the system, the right system, the system of truth, the system of reality. Right? That's the system I'm part of. And I'm biased. I'm biased towards reality.
Yeah.
I'm biased towards uncomfortable truths that people don't want to hear. Of course I'm biased.
Well, I would say one thing, Chicano, I'm not woke. The woke is presented. I'm awake. I'm not woke. I'm awake. But there you go. The system of liars, bro. Top rank shills. Oh, okay. I got it. Top rank shills. So I guess that includes my analysis of Devin Haney when he was with Top Rank and the fact that I thought he beat Loma, right? Because I thought Devin Haney beat Loma. Does that mean I'm a Top Rank shill? Does my coverage of Shakur Stevenson, I guess it's because of that or because of Jared Big Baby Anderson?
These are all deflections. These are all deflections because they're hurt. You're scared. Just say, I'm afraid Usyk's going to lose. And I'm going to have to listen to Fury talk shit for the rest of his career. Just admit it. That's what you're all afraid of. Just tell the truth. You know what? We should drop. Do you want to drop a link and see what these guys have to say? What do you think? It's up to you. It's your call.
Yeah, we can drop a link, and if anything,
let's drop a link. Let's drop a link, and we're gonna see.
We can do.
I want to hear this the trembling in these guys' voices when they talk about Usyk and the fear that they have of him losing, and then they have to listen to the greatest heavyweight of all time troll them for the rest of their existence on this planet. Yeah, Fury is the greatest, and it hurts. It's painful.
Yeah, this is true.
People are just so scared that Usyk's going to lose, and they have to listen to Fury dig it into them for the rest of their existence on this planet. It hurts them. Fury is the greatest. It hurts you.
We don't want no. Joe literally offered you the link to invite you.
I'll drop you on. I'll drop a link for you. And I bet you don't even show your face because you don't want people to look in your eyes because you people are going to see the dishonesty in your eyes. They're going to see the fear in your eyes. Look at me, man. I'm dialed in. Fury is the greatest of all time. My temples aren't throbbing. That's a sign when people's temples throb, they're lying. Look at this. These temples aren't even moving. Fury is the greatest of all time. He's the best heavyweight ever. Even Emmanuel Stewart said it. Joe Rogan said it, right?
Yeah.
Shakur Stevenson said it. Even Shakur Stevenson said Tyson Fury would beat Muhammad Ali. He said it. He said it. Sylvester Stallone in the Hall of Fame, he said Fury's the best of all time. Everybody knows. Tim Bradley floated the idea. I don't know. This guy, he probably could beat anyone in any era. He has the size and the skill and ability to do so.
Bradley, I'm going to call it out something here. Tim Bradley was also taking out rubber duckies on Showtime, on ESPN Top Rank telecast and calling Fury a duck. So that much I did not agree with Tim Bradley. I'm sure you saw that too.
I didn't see that, but he probably had someone on the broadcast team like speaking in his ear telling him to say that, but I don't
They
think he
do
meant
these
it.
State of the Union shows after the telecast. You got to go on the ESPN Plus app to watch them. They usually do like 30 minutes after their telecast where they talk about stuff in boxing, and Fury's come up and he brings out the rubber ducky. He's like, I'm calling him a duck, and he puts the duck on the table. No, he wasn't ducking. He was doing what every pro athlete does, which is negotiate the best deal possible. Guess what, guys? Sometimes that takes time. By the way, this fight materialized way faster than Floyd and Pacquiao did, way faster than Errol Spence versus Terrence Crawford, way faster, by the way, than Bivol versus Beterbiev. So, I mean, there are other fights out there that people were asking for and are still asking for that have taken much longer to be put together and materialized than this one. Let's just call it what it is.
I mean, let's just be real, man. Just admit that you guys are afraid. It's okay. I'm not going to judge you, right? I'm not going to judge you. You're afraid that Usyk's going to lose. And then you have to listen to Fury talk shit over and over again for the rest of his career. It's going to hurt you guys. It's going to bother you guys. We have this. The Fury-Maniacs have this strategy. And what the Fury-Maniacs have done, right? I formed the Fury-Maniacs back in 2011 after the first Derek Chisora fight. Back in 2011, I said, this guy is going to be the best heavyweight of all time. I knew it back then, right? I interviewed Emmanuel Stewart. We had a discussion about this, right? He said it before me. But here's the thing. I formed the Fury-Maniacs back in 2011, and I haven't looked back since. And all we've done since 2011 and on, right, is just wind you guys up. We stick the knife in you and we twist it. And what do? We elicit this negative response from you guys, right? And then we create this animosity. But what this animosity really is it's anticipation, because you guys hope, dream, go to sleep at night, hoping with all of everything in the fiber of your being, you hope that Fury will lose. But deep down inside, you know it's not going to happen.
Well, I got news for those, Joe, and it's the second topic for part 2, which is that this is essentially Fury versus White all over again, and I'm going to lay out that case rather quickly for those that are interested in having an open mind. But let's go to Chris Comerford. I think he sounds like he might be from jolly old England.
Oh, he jumped out. He's afraid. He jumped out. He's afraid. Everyone's a coward. No one's going to show their face. Everyone's going to hide. Shout out to Little Penny. He used to come on and he never used to show his face, but the beat kind of made him feel at home, and now he shows his face on camera. He's a real one. He doesn't always say the greatest things, but we let him on here. We love him. We love Little Penny. He came on here. He never used to show his face, but he shows his face because he knows he has a seat at the dinner table here at Beeb Industries. We welcome him in, man. We welcome him in.
Fury went life or death with, I guess he means Wallin, or she means Wallin, but he beat Ali. But he beats Ali. Okay, well, first of all, again,
9-3, the 9-3 fight. 9-3 fight.
Give Otto Wallin.
I gave him 3 rounds, and they were all swing. They were all swing rounds. It could have been a shutout if I really was being objective.
Clarissa, if you want to play that game, Clarissa, okay, I can bring up Henry Cooper. Okay, and Joe can bring up people that actually beat Ali in the ring.
What about the 3 Ken Norton fights that everyone thought Ali lost? I mean, I love Ali. I just tell the truth.
Death. I mean, Ken Norton fights with Ali were much closer than Wallin versus Fury. Wallin obviously cut him up, okay, but then Fury made his adjustments. He moved the fight to the inside, and he dominated Wallin in 9 to 10 out of 12 rounds.
I mean, if we want to be honest, Wallin laced him, and he cut his eye with the laces. I mean, if we want to be honest, it was a lace job.
It was
right?
a late job.
And what did Fury do? He still wins because that's
the adjustments. That's what champions do. They dig.
I mean, if you're a Fury-maniac, you understand the true heart of a champion. You come back from adversity. When Joshua was faced with adversity, and again, with all due respect, he was faced with adversity in the Andrew Ruiz first fight. He was faced with adversity, right, in the Usyk fight when Usyk turned it up in both fights in the second half. And again, Joshua's a Hall of Famer. He's one of the best of his era. We're not going to disrespect him. But once again, he's not anywhere near the best heavyweight of all time. Because when the best heavyweight of all time, right, when he gets pushed to the limit, when he's on the edge of the cliff, he does not fall. He'll lean back. And as he's about to fall, what does he do? His greatness shines through. And he jumps back forward and says, I will not fall off that cliff. I will not stay on that canvas. My fucking orbital bone could be hanging out. But guess what? I will never quit. And that's what it's all about, being a Fury-maniac. If you're a Fury-maniac, you understand these things. If you're not a Fury-maniac, guess what you do? You start looking and you play the game of the what ifs. Oh, well, this happened because of that. This happened because of this. And this is why you guys are always in second place. You're always at the back of the line. When the teams were being picked when you were kids, you never got picked first. And you hated because if you're a maniacs, we're winners in life. We win at all costs, under any circumstances. We are winners.
So in other words, this is like Hogan at the Garden in the camel clutch, right? The Sheik's got him in the camel clutch and he's, starting the shakes, right? And the crowd's starting to go wild because they believe in the power of Hulkamania. Is that where we're going with this, Joe?
I mean, as I said, I formed the Fury-maniacs. I formed the Fury-maniacs back in 2011, and I haven't looked back. And neither is Tyson Fury. I mean, he went on a little vacation for a couple of years. We knew this was going to happen. There was rumblings. There was rumblings. There was rumblings. We knew all about this, but we knew the truth would come to light. The truth would come. He comes back in 2018, Tyson Fury, and in that same year, what does he do? He fights for the heavyweight championship of the world, right? He doesn't need 10 fights. He doesn't have to rebuild like Anthony Joshua right now has to rebuild, right? He fought Wilder in the same year that he came back. It's been 5 years and Joshua still hasn't fought Wilder. No disrespect. I mean, it's a choice. I mean, he has a right to fight whoever he wants. I'm not disrespecting the guy. But here's the thing. People were saying and worrying about Tyson Fury's health when he signed to fight Deontay Wilder in 2018, right? For the first time. And Eric and I were on the Ringside Reporter podcast, and we both said, even at 75% of himself, he still beats Deontay Wilder. And I thought he won that fight. I thought he won 9 of those 12 rounds on my card. Even with those knockdowns, he still won that fight on my card. I have to be honest. And most people thought he won too. Most people thought he won too. So, again, you can't stop the Fury-maniacs. You can't stop Tyson Fury. You can hope, pray that he falls. He will never fall. He will never fall.
So, Joe, let me know if you're ready for part 2. I don't see anybody coming on right now.
Am I ready? I mean, since 2011, I've been ready for this. I mean, I've been trying to tell people what it is. They don't want to listen.
All right, so I'm going to drop the link inside the chat, and I will drop the link to you inside our private chat, and I will go over exactly what I just said a short while ago, which is that Fury versus Usyk is Fury versus White all over again. And that might sound like a bold statement, but honestly, it's really not. And
This
I'm going to
I'm going to
explain
save it.
exactly why I
Go
believe
ahead.
that that's the case. Go
All
for
right.
it, Joe.
I'm going to save it. I have a lot to say on this topic too, as well.
Okay, there you go. So the link is in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. Go click over there. You're going to join us for part 2. Yes, I said it. Yes, it's true. The fact of the matter is Usyk versus Fury is White versus Fury all over again. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like button. Let people know what you think. Drop a comment in the comment section and give this video a like. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you, everybody.